Welcome to Breaking Par with Bernard Sheridan, the only weekly golf instruction podcast that interviews the best golf industry pros from around the globe. Now, here's your host, Advanced Impact Zone golf instructor, Bernard Sheridan.
Kellie, thanks for being with us today on Breaking Par.
Thanks for having me here. I'm excited to spend some time with you.
So, the first time that I've ever met you, and it was just for one short moment because we were both in a seminar over on the East Coast. I think it was around Palm Beach, I believe, with Mike Adams and E.A. Tischler.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and I know that for me personally, it changed a lot about the way I instruct and how I do instruction. And it really, I think, made my style, or I don't want to say style, but made what I do move so much faster. I understood so much more about what that player was doing and where I had to put, what style I had to put them in, and make sure that they were in their own style and doing what that was best for their body. So how did you feel about that program?
Well, I've been around Mike Adams for almost my whole teaching career. So for me, it was just a little more knowledge really in the same line that I've been dealing with for a long time. So I was teaching at Admirals Cove in Jupiter, Florida, and I was very, very busy, but I had kind of reached my maximum potential there. So I went to work for Mike. And Mike was funny because Mike said to me, he watched me give a lesson, and he said, I can tell you've been doing a lot of babysitting. He said, but I need a female teacher and you're good with people, so I'm going to hire you. And that was a long time ago. That was probably almost 20 years ago. So I've been really, really fortunate that most of my teaching has been around Mike, and I was trained by Mike. So it didn't really change what I teach. It just enhances it because he's just such a smart man and really a genius and has been an amazing mentor to me. So it's just more of an understanding of what I'm doing. And like you said, it makes it a little bit quicker, but I've been lucky to be around Mike for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, I totally 100% agree with you about Mike being so intelligent. He's between him and EA, both of those guys are super bright guys, and it must really be a treat spending your career around Mike. Because of all that knowledge that you have at your access, and that of course translates right into what you do.
Right, I was just lucky. When I was at PGA National, we were busy. I mean, we did 2 golf schools a week, and we did 36 to 40 students each school. So you had 30 seconds to analyze their golf swing. You had 30 seconds to make them better, and then move to the next student. So it was just a really great atmosphere for making people better and making them better really, really quickly, which was I learned from Mike.
Yeah, well, when you're in that situation too, I mean, you have to perform. So it really gets you on your game and
Right.
gets you really clocked into everything and dialed into what every person is doing, and it must have fine-tuned your skills tremendously.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I didn't, I wasn't that good then. It's funny. I really feel like I should go back and give some of those nice people at Admirals Cove in Jupiter, Florida, some money back, because I was busy, but I was doing the best I could with the information that I had. And then when I went to work for Mike, I started to really understand cause and effect and how to make that ball flight much better very quickly. And it translates to my lessons every day today.
That's awesome. So let's pedal back a little bit from there, and let's say when you got started. Like, what got you into golf, and what made you decide to move into teaching?
Well, I've been playing golf since I was 3, and even though I'm a really good numbers person, I'm not going to do any math for you and tell you how many numbers of years I've been playing golf. But I played in high school, and I played at Furman University in college, and we had an amazing coach there, and Mick Potter, and we also had a very, very good team. We finished second in the nation my senior year. By 1 shot. We lost nationals by 1 shot.
Wow.
And I really improved my golf game a lot in the 4 years at Furman. And I turned professional, and I played for about 6 years on every foreign tour known to women, Europe, Australia, Korea, South Africa, Asia. I played all over the world. And it was really fun and I loved it, but I just wasn't quite good enough. So I started teaching at Admiral's Cove, like I mentioned, in Jupiter, Florida. And I just found that teaching just matched my personality better. I could help people. I was pretty good at it every day, even before I went to work for Mike. And I just found that I was much more satisfying to me. And I've really been kind of on a quest to try to get better every day that I teach and learn something from somebody. So I've been teaching for over 20 years now and have been at some really nice clubs and have been able to really be around some amazing golf instructors. So as a fortunate member of the Golf Magazine Top 100 Teachers, when we go to these events, we get to watch these teachers really taking their time and sharing their information. And I just try to take in every little thing that they say, and then I try to take it back to my students. So, it's been really a lifetime in golf, but, half of my lifetime in teaching. And I just feel like I'm super lucky because I get to do what I like to do almost every day. And I get to be around some really amazing students while I teach them golf. They kind of share their life experiences with me, and it's really fun.
Yeah, I think that for me too, that's one of the most enjoyable parts about being an instructor is that you are making connections with all different people of all different skill levels and of all different ages, and they tell you a lot about their own lives, and not just a lot of times they're not just talking golf. And that's nice. Mm-hmm. If you like to be social, I'm kind of a social person. I must be, or I wouldn't have this show. Yeah. But I really enjoy talking to people and learning from them and finding out information. And I learn a ton from my students because, you think that they're coming to you to learn something. And but we as instructors learn from them too every day. And little mm-hmm. things that they might do that we might not have run across before. And it starts to educate us to do better and to understand better what is going on with certain people and their bodies and how they work and things like that. So do you use any technology over there? Where are you exactly now?
Yeah,
too?
I am really all over the place. And I never really imagined that I would be where I am. I teach in Palm Beach, Florida in the winter. And I'm in 3 places, which, like I said, I never imagined that I would be so diversified. But I teach at Palm Beach Country Club, which is in the north end of Palm Beach Island. It's a high-end private club where I teach only the members, and they're very nice and they take very great care of me. I also run the instruction program at Palm Beach Par 3, which is in Palm Beach, Florida, but more toward the middle of the island. And I teach there mostly on the weekends, and I also run the instruction. So I do all the programming. I make sure we have quality instructors there, and I make sure that the product that we're putting out is a great one. And then as of last December, I took over the instruction at the Boca Raton Resort and Club. So I'm the director of instruction there, and that's been really fun. I have 5 great teachers there who are all amazing. Scott Monroe, who's a top 100 teacher, also teaches with me. And we run schools and clinics, and we're trying to really increase our corporate events there. So when I'm down here, it's very, very busy. And then in the summer, I teach up in the metropolitan New York area. So I taught out in the Hamptons for 18 summers, but we have a 7-year-old who's in school down here now in Florida. Mm-hmm. So my summer's very short. It's only 2 months. So we go to New York, and I freelance a little bit. I still teach a little bit out in the Hamptons, and I spend some time in Martha's Vineyard at the Vineyard Club in August, and they're very nice. It's a lot of fun. It's a great group of people out there. So it's not where I imagined myself to be, but every place is kind of fun, and it keeps me very, very busy. And like I say, I'm never bored.
Well, there's never no grass growing under your feet, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're all over the place, but that's good because, body in motion tends to stay in motion, and that keeps you young and I, not that I'm saying you're not young because you're still young, but as you continue to do it, then it's going to keep you young and active, and that's good.
And I always say that. I say to my dad, I'm like, Dad, objects in motion stay in motion. So that's like you stole that out of my mouth. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So I mean, my mother-in-law's like that. She's 83 now, and every time you see her, she's just chugging along. She keeps moving, and she'll come over and she'll be like, "Oh, can I do this? Can I do that?" And we're like, "Mom, you just relax. It's okay. Just sit down and let's talk." But no, she's got to work. She's got to work all the time.
So
That's
she's
just the
somebody
way
we
she
could probably
is.
learn something from. I would like to meet her.
Absolutely. I mean, it's it's so important and not have to be real active physically, but just active, walking around, moving as you get older. I know that I have this Apple Watch, and I got it actually as a gift. And on that Apple Watch, there's a health app. And in that application, what happens is it tells you how many steps you've walked every day.
Mm-hmm.
I like one of those fit things.
Yeah, I like this one.
There you go. It also tells you um, when to stand,
Oh, really?
and it gives you a goal and what you want it to be. So it
Okay.
tells you to stand every hour. And what it does is it taps you like this
Really?
on the wrist, boom, 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 and then it you look at it and it says time to stand. So then you stand up and
Yeah.
you need to stand for at least a minute for you to achieve that goal. So for me, I'm standing a lot anyway, but there's a lot of times that I'm in the office and I'm sitting, or if
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a lesson, I'm sitting at a desk maybe and looking at the computer and tracking things and but then it'll tap me, so then I'll stand up. So then I have yet, since I got it, and I've had it since September, I have yet not met my stand goal for 12 hours a day. So that means that I'm standing and walking around or doing something 12
Mm-hmm.
hours a day, which is good. I mean, and that's an important thing to do. And then it also tracks calories that you burn. And then if you want to get intense about it, it'll track heart rate and things like that. I don't get that intense about it. And then it also has a 30-minute exercise per day, and it'll tell you if you met any of that exercise goal. And I
There you
think
go.
with that is your heart rate has to get up to a certain rate before it starts to tick off those minutes. But it's technology is amazing.
Right. So anyway, so back to your technology question. It's there's so much out there, and I do use a fair amount of it. I'm a big fan of taking a quick video on my phone. And I use my iPad for a video as well. There's so many great, Slow Pro where you can slow the swing down. It's 1,000 frames per second. So I was fortunate enough to be doing an insurance outing for Fortegra Insurance Company in Hawaii. And I was in the putting area with Stan Utley, which is another example of a great teacher who I was lucky enough to teach with. And this was when iPads kind of first came out in instruction. And I don't know if you met Stan, but Stan's a great guy, but he's very laid back and really nice to be around. So he videoed the students putting. He flipped the iPad over. 2 seconds later, he showed them their video, and they were back to putting in like a minute. I said, you know what? I'm all about that. So I went home and I bought my iPad, and I am constantly using that because I want any video analysis I do to be kind of quick and painless, and let's get back to it.
hmm
I rarely, if ever, will compare it to a swing model, which I know I might be a little bit different. But I've just found that so many people are comparing their swing to a swing model that's just not applicable.
Yeah.
And, the teachers that are comparing to Tiger or to Rory or to Ricky, or to Jordan, who we all like to root for,
hmm
that's great. But I teach in Palm Beach, Florida, the more average kind of country club golfer, and they're not ever going to swing like that. So, I'll show them their swing, and we'll pick one little area to improve, and then we're right back to it. So, I like a very, very quick video. We have Flight Scope at Palm Beach Country Club. We also have Flight Scope at Boca Hotel. So we'll use that, and I use that more to verify. I love it. It's great. It's wonderful for club fitting. I certainly don't need it to tell me the face or the path. I can already see that. I can, the ball will tell me too. So I like the technology. It's great. I use it, but it's more affirmation to really prove a point or to show somebody that's really just not quite getting it.
Yeah, I know that for us, we have TrackMan and Swing Catalyst, and and the track. Well, we have the TrackMan 4, which for us, a lot of the things that we do is about where the bottom of the swing arc is. So that measures that. So that's really nice to have. The other thing that I like about the TrackMan with the numbers is that if I have a student and I don't really mention numbers to them or really even refer to it,
Right.
I just pay attention to it. And if I'm trying to get them something to do something, I might be looking at certain numbers to see if it's doing what I want it to do.
Right.
And if I see a change in that, then I might mention it to them. I'll say, "Hey, look, that spin rate just came up, and because we just did this, so that's really good, and that's what we want." So that's really nice. And then I love the swing catalyst because it allows me to see what they're doing power wise, ground force wise, and that's really for them. What I find it the most useful for is at address and where their weight is and where they're creating pressure. And a lot of times they don't even know where they're creating pressure or feel where they're creating pressure. Right. And then when they can see that, it really makes a big difference because then I can then say, okay, I want you to try to do this. Then they start to feel what they have to do. Then they can see the result. So that is where probably out of all the things that I use more than anything that I have the student look at and pay attention to, it's where that weight is going. And whether it's where we want it to be for them.
I think all these things, what I like to do is when they're swinging well and they're hitting it well, they're wonderful markers. To me, it's not always about when they're not doing it well. I love to video or to use any measuring device when they're swinging their best, because then when they're not, you can have a model to compare to.
Yeah, I always like, and that's exactly what I agree with that. And I also, I like that you said that you usually don't compare them to pros. I don't like to do that either. I like to compare them to themselves.
Yes.
And see where they've moved from, and so that we can say, okay, here's a swing from a month ago, and I know that you're here every week and we tape every week, but let's look at the one that was like 3-4 weeks ago and then stack it up right next to this one that you just did, and let's see the differences and how much you've improved. So
how quickly you forget, like last week you couldn't do this at all, and this week you're great, and how quickly we all kind of block it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that comparing numbers to themselves, to the person who created those numbers, not saying, like you said, like, oh, Jordan Spieth creates these numbers and this ball flight and this launch angle and this attack angle, and well, I mean, okay, that's good too, but like probably Bob, who's 75 years old, is going to have a tough time doing that, and we don't expect them to do it, or Nancy, who is 60, and came in, or as Kevin Walker always says, Mrs. Haverkamp, then and we say Mrs. Haverkamp is our average student, and
absolutely, God bless them.
They're not doing that, but they just want to have fun. So, and we just want to make it so that they have fun. So when you're running around all this time, how do you find time for yourself?
And
your kids too.
Yeah, we have one. Well, my husband and my son. Okay. They're wonderfully supportive, so I'm really, really lucky. And I do my best, that's for sure. I drive my son to school every day, and we're always busy. But I take a little extra time in the summer to be with them, so I don't work a huge amount in the summer. And then every March we try to sneak away for a week of skiing. So, it's as our son gets busier, it's a little bit easier. And I love to play tennis. So I have stolen some time out of my teaching schedule to join a tennis team.
Oh, that sounds like
don't tell
fun.
my students when I'm not there on Wednesday mornings, I'm playing tennis.
Well, you have to keep active, right?
Yeah.
The problem with I think the biggest problem, you can tell me if you run into this too, but since you teach, like some people say to me, so you're playing all the time? Like, you're down in Florida now. You're not in Pennsylvania anymore. You're playing all the time? I'm like, no, I wish I was. I said, but I'm busy taking care of my students. I said, so, and the little bit of time that I have, I spend with my family. I don't spend it on the
Nice.
golf course. I mean,
Right. Yeah, this time of year I'm not playing very much. In the spring and the fall, I have some girlfriends down here that are wonderfully charitable, so they'll occupy my September and October with some wonderful charity events. We go and we have a lot of fun, but this time of year it's just it's
right now,
busy, and
forget
I'm
it.
trying to take care of my students as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, so I mean, I know a lot of people all over the country at this time of the year. It's the off season, but down here, it's slamming. It's the on
Right.
season, and this is when you're doing everything, and you're running around like crazy, and I can't even imagine because I just go back and forth from the world headquarters to Tiburon, and that's not that far away. They're probably like maybe 3.5 miles from each other.
Okay.
And it really feels like sometimes like you're quick trying to get over here, and then you want to make sure that you have enough time, and then you're running back over there, and you're back at the office again, and then you have another lesson, and then you're doing this, and but I it's got to be crazy. Like, are you going to all these different clubs on the same day sometimes, or are you just like designated certain days to certain clubs?
They're not that far apart. So from Palm Beach Country Club to Par 3 is about 20 minutes, and then from Par 3 down to Boca is another 25. So I think there's only been one day I've been at all three. So I try to avoid that. But there's a lot of days where I'm at two. So I may be at Palm Beach in the morning and then scoot down to Par 3 for the afternoons. But I just try to accommodate as many students that I can and just make the best of it. But I put a lot of miles on my car. So I drive my son to school, I head into work, and I'm usually at least one, possibly two facilities each day. But they're not crazy far apart.
Well, that's good. I mean, but that's a lot of racing around, but it's still that's good. It keeps you on the go. But
Hmm.
when you're at the par three, are you doing a lot of taking students out on that par three and doing playing lesson type things? I think that a par three would be
Yes.
perfect for that type of a setup.
Well, all three places. I'm on the golf course a lot. So once you can manage the skills on the range, it's a whole different beast to get it out on the golf course and have it transfer out there. So really, I would say with an existing student, probably 75 to 80% of their lesson time is on the golf course. The
Wonderful.
par three is nice because it's right in Palm Beach. So we are situated between the ocean on one side and the intercoastal on the other. So it's just absolutely beautiful. So people come down to visit and take some lessons, and you stand on top of the hill and you're overlooking the ocean, and besides playing golf and having fun, it's really just a spectacular place. So it's a special treat to get off of that golf range and onto that beautiful golf course, which we were lucky to have. Ray Floyd was involved in our redesign and was helpful in raising some funds to also build a beautiful clubhouse. So it's really an amazing facility. And if anybody wants to take a look at it, the website is golfontheocean.com. It's just a really special, fun place.
What are the websites for the other two places that you're teaching now?
Well, if they came to my website, which is Kelly with an IE, KellieStenzelGolf.com, they could link to any of the facilities, and also Boca Raton Resort and Club, which is just a beautiful 1,000-room hotel. We have a beach club, we have golf, we have tennis. It's really a very high-end, beautiful resort. It's in Boca Raton, and just a whole fun family vacation. We have a flow rider now where you can virtual surf, so it's really a kind of a fun family place with now an impressive golf staff and golf program.
So the program, what do you find in the programs that you do that you think you enjoy the most? Do you enjoy the most doing group type things with like clinics, or do you enjoy more doing like one-on-one type things, or like what do you think you feel the most like that you get the most joy out of doing?
I like both. I'm lucky in that my students a lot of them are friends. I've been teaching them for a long time. So the private lessons are really fun. And it's a lot of times it's like being with a friend that I've known for a long, long time. And then the group instruction is kind of my creative side. We get to choose different topics, like coming up this next week. We've got a drive, chip, and putt school at Boca Raton Resort and Club, where we're going to measure their driving, their putting, and their chipping before, teach them for a couple hours, and then kind of measure them afterward, like the tournament at Augusta. So that's the creative side, and I've got a couple young instructors that are teaching with us, Stephanie Shaw and Carlos Madriz. So Scott Monroe and myself and the two will do the school together and really bring them along. So they're equally fun. They're just very different. The private lesson's very calm and relaxed and fun, and the golf school's creative and a little chaos. But we're very well staffed. We try to be very particular about our schools, that we're no more than 4 students to 1 teacher. So we're giving them really a very quality product, and that's really what happens at all my academies. It's really meant to be a quality product.
Yeah, I think that the 4-to-1 ratio works really well in a group format. Once you get a little bit past that, it's really tough to give everybody individual attention.
Absolutely. And I learned that from Mike. It's a little bit of the eyes in the back of the head thing. So one of our instructors said, you make me a little nervous when you watch me. I said, well, I'm watching you, but I'm half watching you because I'm also scanning to make sure everybody got golf balls, make sure the student I just walked away from, they didn't change their grip because I'm not standing right behind them. So, it's a constant scanning of everything that's going around. And that's a lot of fun.
I think that all instructors who are in that format, their peripheral vision is always there.
Mm-hmm.
You're always because I have especially younger students, and I'll be doing a lesson and I'll be talking to their dad, and they'll be hitting balls, and they think that I'm not paying attention at all.
Right.
They think that I'm just talking to dad,
right.
And the whole time, and I'll go, did you take a practice swing for that one? And they'll be like, no.
Right. Well, and plus you can hear the ball flight. I mean, you can hear the ball contact.
Yeah.
You hear that, so it's either really good or it's not quite as good. So even when you're not watching,
yep,
you're still listening.
Yeah, you're still hearing it, and you're using your senses, and you're always alert about what is going on around you. But that's because you've trained yourself to do that. You've trained yourself to hear,
yeah, that
to
goes
see.
Back to Mike too. Mike was, like I said, those golf schools were 36 to 40 students. At that point, I think we had like 25 teachers. So he's got 40 students, 25 teachers, inside staff, and he made it look easy. So anything that I'm doing is small in comparison to that.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, again, I agree. Mike is quite a guy. He really knows how to do it right, and he's been doing it for quite a while too. Mm-hmm. So that's for sure.
Right.
All right, so we're kind of winding down here. So I want to thank you very much for being with us. Give us that website where everyone can get in touch with you one more time, so we can put it up on the screen for the video portion of the show, so that way people have an opportunity, if they're in the area or if they want to contact you or if they just want to ask you questions, they can do that. Right.
It's Kellie with an IE, KellieStenzelGolf.com. And I'm getting ready to put 3 new videos that I've been working on for a couple of years now on that website, directed toward women, because that has been kind of my background in writing some books. So I have a women's full swing video, a women's full short game video, and also how to get out of the bunker, because I know that's an area that tends to scare not only women but a lot of golfers. So if they could keep an eye open for that, that would be great.
Excellent. And can they download that right off your site?
Yes, hopefully within about 2 weeks.
Good. Well, by the time this episode airs, because here's what we do, and this is probably for the audience as much as I'm mentioning it to you, so that they understand. All our shows are taped, and our shows actually are taped about 6 to 8 weeks in advance.
Oh, okay. It'll definitely be on there by then. Yes.
Yeah. So then that way, by the time this show is aired, they can go right to that site and just click download and get exactly what they need for that information. And I'm sure that it's excellent information, and I'm sure that they will learn quite a lot.
Thank you. Great.
All right. So what we always like to say in parting is, until we meet again, do your best to keep it in the short grass, which I'm sure you do anyway.
I'll do my best.
All right, Kellie. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Breaking Par with Bernard Sheridan, the only weekly golf instructional podcast that helps you take control of your game. Need help with a part of your game? Email us at parbreakers@gmail.com and we will cover your topic in a future show.